Thank you, Brady. Should be able to see my screen now. Again, my name is Wade Cantrell, Cantrell's Computer Sales and Service. Okay, I have a lot to cover today. 5 topics, and I'm actually kind of flipping this around. First, I want to start off with my thanks, then a little bit about my business name transition, how to refer me, tips to avoiding phishing attacks, just a very few of those, and then a lot of information about young me growing up in Memphis. Okay, so let me go back just real quick. Those are the folks. Again, I apologize if I missed anybody. Okay, so moving forward, as many of you know, I currently have 2 business names. Cantrell's Computer Sales and Service, which I've had for a while, and just recently Cantrell's Information Technology. So why did I do that? And the reason why is because our business is really transforming, and we're kind of in 2 camps right now. We've always been, from the very beginning, we've done transactional type of work. Things like custom builds or computer sales or break fix or working on specific projects. And we still do those things. What we're doing more now, and really started in 2014, we are doing a lot of proactive services and services that we're monitoring over periods of time. And so our previous name, or our current original name, Cantrell's Computer Sales and Service, really didn't represent that. So that's why we now have Cantrell's Information Technologies, and thank you very much, Doug, for the logo. Okay, so yes, at some point in the future, we will probably again go to one single name, which will be Cantrell's Information Technologies, or IT, but right now we are doing both names. So great referrals for me are locally owned businesses in the East Bay. Generally, they're small enough so that they do not have their own IT department. We act as their outsourced IT. Key components to the customers of ours is that the computers are essential for their business, can't work without it. Their data is very important to them. And generally, what we're doing is we're working with the business owners or the office managers, and a common trigger for people thinking to refer me is when you hear of people planning to move their business. So real quickly, this is a huge subject. I do spend hours on this. Tips to avoid phishing attacks. Please note that up to 90% of cybercrime begins with an email. And the folks that are doing these malicious emails are definitely looking at current trends. COVID-19, vaccines. If we have an earthquake, for example, in the near future, expect to see spam email, malicious email talking about earthquakes. So the most important thing you can do, the tool that you have, is your brain. Be very suspicious of the things that may trigger you that is a malicious email. And that could be the sender's email address, and also the generic greetings or signatures. Also be very sure and double check and pause before you open any attachments or click on any links. Also, don't depend on just your brain. The bad guys only have to win once. So it's very good to use things like email spam filters to reduce the decisions that you have to make in order to avoid getting affected. Okay, so now we get into the fun part. Let's talk a little bit about young Wade. So my father and mother on the left, this is a picture of them in Branson, Missouri, which is where they met. My mom was living and grew up in Chicago. My dad was born and raised in Memphis, and they happened to both vacation there at the same time, and that's how they met. Picture on the right, that's how I knew them, mom and dad. So out of that came young Wade. For those of you who have wondered, yes, I had very blonde, light blonde hair when I was young, and I looked like a pretty happy kid. Okay, so where does Wade come from? My father's best friend in the picture to the left is Waldemar Waddy Smith. Waddy was not a great name, nor was Waldemar. So my father named me Wade after his best friend. Please note the picture on the left, this is showing my father and his friend Waddy hunting. They grew up during the Depression. My father was a teenager. He and Waddy, with their hunting dog, would go out into the woods with limited bullets and expected to come back with meat to put on the table when their parents were working. That's how he grew up. And then my father, many of you know, he was a commercial artist. His medium, when he did fine art for fun, I think his best medium was charcoal drawing. And there's a charcoal drawing of Waddy, obviously, when he was older than my father did. Okay, grew up with my sister, Diane, who was a great athlete. Unfortunately, back in those times, very little avenues, especially in high school, for women to participate in sports. I think she would have been a fantastic track and field athlete, didn't have that opportunity. Also, there's my dog, which was a German Shepherd. I'm sorry, an English Shepherd. Wonderful dog growing up with. She enjoyed being off leash because back then dogs did not have to be on leash very much at all. So what was it like growing up in Memphis? Keep in mind that back then in the late 60s and 70s, very few fences. We were able to ride our bike everywhere, walk everywhere. And so, but there was very few organized activities. So we did a lot of organized or organize our own activities. For example, by the way, this is a picture of my house that I grew up with in Memphis. Notice all the green grass, etc. And then another thing about Memphis is what people don't realize is that Memphis has a lot of trees, which is great because it gets very hot. The trees can provide shade and cooling. Memphis is considered an urban forest and is also designated as a tree city. So growing up in Memphis, we did get snow. And when it snowed, school was out. And you can see there where I circled, there's the carport, not the garage, basketball hoop. I spent hours in the evening playing basketball. And then this is my backyard. This was my playground. This is where we did pickup football games and all other types of activities. This is what we did in order to occupy our time. We only had 3 channels on the TV at the time. So other interests included swimming, scouts, camping, etc. Notice my large pool that we had at my first house that I lived in. And also just want to share with you, there was a few team sports that I played. And they were primarily church sponsored. And the reason why, again, there was no big organized sports, the churches provided it. And so that's pretty much the presentation, a little bit about me today. Hopefully everybody has a great day. Thank you very much.